What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to be talking about another draft prospect, and this one might be very interesting, ladies and gentlemen, because he's not a forward and he's not a center either. Now please don't leave the video just yet. It's very hypocritical of me to say that I want the best talent available, but then only look at two positions, the forwards and the centers. That's not necessarily how I want to do things. So today, whether we like it or not, I am going to talk about a guard. I'm going to talk about a guard that my friend recommended to me. His name is Collier, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about the strengths and the weaknesses, what I like and what I don't like, and the biggest concern that I have if we were to select him with the 11th overall pick. But before we get any further, if you like the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls, Collier. Do they link up well? Do they match well? And can he thrive if he was picked for the Chicago Bulls? Apparently he's been linked to us as well. That's a big reason why I'm talking about him also. But what do we know about him? Well, we know that he's a point guard. He's 6'5", so around Kobe White's height, I guess you could say. Kobe White's got a massive afro, so he might be a little bit shorter, but still around Kobe White's height. But the biggest thing to take away, at 19 years of age, he is a very strong guard. He's 210 pounds. There are a lot of centers, rookie centers, that come into the league at 19 years of age and do not weigh that much. Weigh a lot less than that. So that's quite impressive for someone that's 19 years of age, and you expect that to improve over time with more time in the league and more time in the gym, which is fantastic to see. Looking at some of his statistics for this season, I don't necessarily know how many games he played, but he averaged around 16.3 points per game, 2.9 rebounds, 4.3 assists, shooting 49% from the field and 33% from the three-point line. So ultimately, the stats look good as well. Now, keep in mind, this is a weaker draft, so if you're looking at players like Collier compared to maybe the Scoot Hendersons of the world of last season, of course, the stats are not necessarily exactly all the way there for him. But as someone that has potential, I do like the stats that I'm looking at right now. Now, not everything is all sunshines and rainbows, but I do want to discuss the strengths before we take a look at the big weaknesses that we have with him. So, the first thing that I wrote down here is that his body, his frame, and his strength are going to be big positives in the NBA. Look, sometimes, I don't mean to say this in a bad way, but sometimes in the NBA, bully ball is a thing, where you get absolutely destroyed because someone is just stronger than you. I look at guys like Joel Embiid. I look at guys like Giannis. I look at guys like even Jokic. You know, these guys are strong guys. And I know I mentioned centers and forwards there, but for the guard position as well, that is definitely something to keep in mind. Every time you drive to the rim and you have the strength advantage, that's going to give you an advantage over that guard every single time. So that will be a big positive. And the most important thing is, as he gets to his early 20s, mid-20s even, that's going to get better. That's a really big positive to take away. But speaking of, I mentioned cutting to the rim and driving to the lane. Well, he's also very good at that as well, ladies and gentlemen. He is a very good finisher around the rim. And, you know, good strength, good finishing around the rim, that's a positive combination right there. Someone that can bully his way to the rim, but also be confident and lethal enough to finish around the rim as well. There are so many highlights of him around in college, just getting past everybody at will and just driving to the lane, being able to take the ball away from a defender or, you know, take it away from a shot blocker even, and just being very, very, very good around the rim. Which leads me to my next point. He's very crafty. His movement is something that I really like. His craftiness in how to get to the rim. Sometimes it's not necessarily just about brute strength, forcing your way to the rim for him. It's more about the craftiness. How can he break down an opponent? There's a lot of plays where he's having isolation plays and he can just, you know, go straight at it and try to break an opponent down. There's a lot of highlight plays like that for him, and he does that very well also. So good in transition around the rim, good breaking down an opponent around the rim, very good finisher. So he has offensive talent, clearly, and he shoots 33% from the three-point line with around 3 takes per game. I see him more as a catch and shoot three-point shooter, in all honesty. There's some good shots where he shoots from deep. There's other shots where it's just pure catch and shoot. In the NBA, I see him as a catch and shoot three-point shooter. I don't see him breaking down an opponent, shooting a fadeaway three or anything like that. I just see him as a catch and shoot three-point shooter, but someone with the confidence to break down his opponent and drive to the lane. So a lot of offensive upside. He's very quick. And last but not least, he's also very confident. When I look at this player, I can see his confidence in the way that he plays. And confidence goes a long way in the NBA. If you're not confident in yourself, I think that shows. I really, really do. And I don't see that with him. When I look at the way that he plays, when I look at the highlights, when I look at how he could break someone down, that is someone that has inner belief and confidence in himself. And that is something that can take you a long way. You know, the best of the best in the world. You can list anybody. They will all have confidence in themselves. So, you know, if you want to become a good player in the NBA, confidence is a good way to take you there. So that's another thing that I really liked about him. You know, just watch his highlights. You could tell this man, very confident in himself. But there's a couple of big weaknesses that I have with him, unfortunately. Obviously, when we said 33% from the three-point line on around 3 takes per game, that's not necessarily a great return in my opinion. From the college level, and it's only going to get harder at the NBA level. So I'm hoping his three-point percentages can improve at the NBA level, and his catch-and-shoot ability will also be there at the NBA level. But that is something we'll have to wait and see about. I don't think anyone will truly know until it happens. So keep that in mind as a small weakness. My biggest weakness with him, what I see, is that he is very lackadaisical in passing, and therefore his turnovers are tremendously high. So I said he averaged around 4.3 assists per game, right? He averages 3.3 turnovers as well. So, turnovers for me is a big issue, especially from the point guard position. We're a team that doesn't necessarily pass the ball that well anyway. We're not that great in assist numbers. So the last thing you want to add into this Bulls team at the moment is someone that has the ability to turn the ball over at a high rate. Zach LaVine, as good as he was for this Bulls team, his biggest weakness was always he turned the ball over too much. Whether it's dribbling off his knee or dribbling it out of bounds or a really poor pick and roll play that led to turnovers. He did it so often that it was very infuriating. And I don't necessarily want someone like that on this team at this point in time. Now, of course, he's 19. Those things can get cleaned up. Of course, it's a risk that you have to be willing to take if you're going to select him. But the way that I see it is that if I'm willing to accept 3.3 turnovers per game, I want someone that's an elite passer. I want someone that can be so creative in his passes where he makes the game modern and easy for everybody else to play, that you accept the 3.3 turnovers, like a Luka Doncic, for example, or a Chris Paul, for example. Someone that just makes the game so much easier for everybody else. The assist-to-turnover ratio is not that high. I look at Isaiah Collier, and it's rather high, and that's a big risk to take. He's also, from my understanding on some of the scouting that I've read from him, I didn't necessarily watch this part, but he does have apparently some defensive inconsistencies. He's not always the best defender that you can put out there on the floor. So you're going to get someone with the ability to be a very good offensive player. I mean, I look at this player, and I think he screams offense to me. He screams good in isolation, good in transition, can improve from the three-point line, willing to break down his defender, can brute force his way to the rim at will. He's a good offensive talent in my opinion, but defensive weaknesses and big turnover issues that most definitely need to be cleaned up at the NBA level. So with that being said, should the Bulls go after this player? We have been linked to him, to be fair. There's a big reason why I'm talking about him, but look, I think he fits a need in terms of movement. I like his movement, and I think that could be a very welcome addition to the Bulls. I don't think he's my first choice. If I had to pick between the players I've watched so far, I would put him last in that category. It's not because I don't think he's talented. It's because, at the end of the day, we are looking at a guard, and if you're going to be willing to take this guard on, you need to move on from somebody else. You can't just bring in this guard to get no opportunity. So I'm worried, not even about him, about the Bulls giving him the right opportunities to succeed. I'm worried about that first and foremost, and I do believe that we could potentially see a little bit better out there. From the mock drafts that I've seen, he's projected to go, again, it's crazy. He could go within the top 5. There's even articles suggesting he could be first. All the way down to the mock draft that I saw, he was ranked 19th, I think it was to the Raptors. I'm not sure where 19th is. So that's crazy. So ultimately, Again, if AK and the Bulls see him as the best talent available, then I don't care what position he is. Guard, forward, center, a new position we've never heard of before, I would take him. But I do have my doubts and fears, and that's why I would be hesitant towards selecting him. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care, and peace.